Democrats. You know, when you think of Jim Crow, uh, the whole reason why we fought a civil war, slavery, these are democratic institutions. Poll tax, that's a democratic thing. But you know, when you look at the first set of civil rights, those amendments, I believe, were what, 13, 14, 15, that were passed after the Civil War, those are Republicans. When you look at, you know, the right for women to vote, the first state that allowed women to vote was Montana, which is a Republican state. Uh, when you look when you look at the Civil Rights Act of 1965, that was because of Republicans, because of an interesting part that Joe Martin, former Republican Speaker of the House from Massachusetts, rallied his caucus to vote for it. I mean, you have Democrats like Al Gore's father who voted against the Civil Rights Act. So they have their own shame, they have their own stain, but the problem is that we have too many milquetoast Republicans that don't know how to say things that this is the truth, this is what happened. We have these rights in this country because of the Republican Party, which was founded in the late 1850s to fight slavery. And remember, the Democrats went to war to maintain slavery. The Democrats had a de facto version of slavery in the South, Homicides Act of 1965 passing. But we as a party have failed to let people know, to let our youth know, that many of the things, many of the rights and freedoms you enjoy was because of the Republican Party. That's what they are. They're a party that institutionalizes people because of dependency. That is their thing. That is not our thing. So for me, I'm proud to say I'm a Republican. Proud to say that many of the civil rights we have were because of Republicans, not because of Democrats. Because remember, there's a Democrat named Bull Connor, who was the chief of police, I believe, in Birmingham, Alabama, that unleashed German shepherds to bite civil rights protesters, viciously bite these people. That is a Democrat legacy. That is not a Republican legacy. So, and also remember that in Boston, yes, the city council is a hybrid system where you have so many elected at large, so many elected at by districts. Is that the reason why prior to 1983, why the city council was at large? Because it was done to get rid of black Republicans that were elected in the inner city of Boston. So, like almost overnight, they changed how the council was elected. That for almost 20 plus years, it was all at large. That was stated about in a book called "Death of the Jewish American Community." Wrote about that. So people can say what they want, but the truth, and we need to be much more forceful. The truth is that civil rights in this country is primarily because of Republicans, not because of Democrats. Because Democrats are the real obstructionists, the real bigots. Because everything to them is based on skin color and your zip code.
Interesting. Donnie, what's your take on this? How do you respond to framing the framing
So,
that conservatism is at odds with racial justice or civil rights movement?
so basically, it's conservatism inherently opposed to racial injustice or civil rights. No, I don't feel conservatives are against uh, racial justice or civil rights. Like Alex said, the Republican Party is a party of minorities, of black folks. Every Republican, prior to what Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, these guys are all Republicans. From that era, from Douglass to King, they're all Republicans. I reject that idea. I feel, that if you want real justice, um, you need equality. Real equality. You're not giving out special advantages to certain groups, and that's what happens in Boston. In Boston, in the state of Massachusetts, there's a special hiring process. If you're LGBTQ, you get like extra points for a job to get a state job. Like they flooded the Mass DOC with LGBTQ. There's no problem with that, but I mean, there is a problem with the inmates. There's a problem right now with the inmates in there. They feel they're getting raped at a higher rate here. I don't like again. I don't feel Republicans are against social justice. I just don't think Republicans care about giving out special privileges and advantages to certain groups. Piggyback off of what Alex said.
I understand. So I could say you and Alex see eye to eye on this issue here. But
Right.
Alex, in what ways do you think conservative policy can be better addressed?
Hamilton, I can't hear you. I need you louder.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
In what ways do you think conservative policy can better address the lived experience of Black and brown communities without relying on race-based solutions? All right, we're having technical difficulties. We're gonna go offline, Donnie, and come back on and finish off this